We're going to start off by looking at this assignment here, the syntax and sentence construction assignments. You see that it's already got some of these defined for you, what a simple sentence is. Scroll down a bit, what a compound sentence is, and the formula that goes with it. Scroll down a bit more, what a complex sentence is, and the formula that goes with it. And then finally, one that we haven't talked about yet, compound complex sentences and what that formula looks like. We're not going to worry about that one right now, just because that's not something that we've done yet. The ones that we are going to focus on are the complex sentence, the compound sentence, and the simple sentence. And what we're going to do is, using our formula here and what we know about simple sentences, we're going to go back into a passage that we've read, and you'll be able to choose what passage that you want to use. So if you want to use fear, you're more than welcome to use fear. If you want to use supersize me, you're more than welcome to use supersize me. Or if you want to use Hoyos Volodorus, you're more than welcome to use that one too. You can also use the poem that we've read, A Blessing. That one's just a little harder to find the syntax and the sentences, just because it's a poem and the lines are kind of split up a little bit awkwardly. But you can certainly use the poem if you want to. So what we'll be doing is we're going to go through a passage of our choice, and we're going to find an example of a simple sentence in one of our passages. We'll find an example of a compound sentence in one of our passages. And we'll find an example of a complex sentence in one of our passages. Now, for the purposes of the example, we're going to focus on our passage, fear. Now, I'm super cool, and on my screen here, you'll notice that I have my passage loaded on one side of the screen, and then I have my assignment loaded on the other side of the screen. I know for some of you, you're working on smaller screens, and so you might have to do a little tab hopping, jumping back and forth between the text and the assignments. But if your screen is big enough, you're most certainly welcome to kind of do the same thing that I've done here. And so just like it says here, found example, I'm going to use fear to find an example of a simple sentence. And we'll go ahead and do that one together. So let's see if I can find it. A cold day after school. You might think, oh, well, that's a good sentence that I can use. The problem with that one is that it's got a subject. It's talking about the cold day, but there's no verb in that sentence. So technically that one's a fragment, and we're not looking for fragment sentences. We're looking for simple sentences. This sentence here is a very complicated sentence. It's got lots of commas in it. It's got interrupters in it. It's got a lot going on in there. And for that reason, I'm going to avoid that one because I don't want to try to figure out what kind of sentence it is. So again, I'm still looking for my simple sentence. And I will find an example of a simple sentence right here in paragraph 3, where he says this. He told me to shut up. It's not a very long sentence. It's a very short sentence. It's got the subject, which in this case, the subject is he, in reference to Frankie T. And the verb is, well, Frankie T's telling him something. He's telling him to shut up. He's talking. He's telling him to do something. So that's my verb. Subject, he, in reference to Frankie T. Verb, told, because he's telling the narrator to shut up. So now that I found my example, I'm going to go ahead and copy that. And I will paste that here. And I've got my answer. Now, I'm not quite done yet. If you look at the way the example is done for us, the example gives us the name of the author and then the title of the text. So I want to make sure I do the same thing here. In this case, the name of my author is Gary Soto. Make sure that we include those parentheses. And then we'll give the name of the passage, Fear. And we'll close our parentheses. That one is super, super simple, because all you're going to do for compound sentence and for complex sentence is go to a passage of your choice and find an example of where they use that. That's all that I'm asking you to do there. Just find one example of a compound sentence from a passage of your choice and one example of a complex sentence from a passage of your choice. Remember, we're not doing the compound complex right now, so we can go ahead and skip that for now. Eventually, we will come back to this. But for today, you can stop at complex. Now I'm nearly done with my simple sentence. I found an example from our passage Fear. Now my job is to create an example. I need to create a simple sentence that demonstrates my understanding of simple sentences, that shows I know how to create a simple sentence. And so I guess I could follow this as a model where it's got my subject, my verb, and then a couple of things after that verb to finish up the package. So I'll kind of use that as a guide, but I'm not going to copy it. And for this purpose here, I'm going to invent a character just to kind of move along. You can use me as an example, Mr. Vega, or you can use Coach as an example. Doesn't matter to me. But if you're going to use me or Coach, say something nice about us. So I'll use here my made-up example. I'll invent someone named Ryan. Here in this example, Frankie is telling our narrator to shut up. And so here in this example, Ryan will be jumping. And to finish up that package, we'll say Ryan jumped on the sofa. I created an example. I found an example. And I am done with this first one. Now, your job, as stated a little while ago, is to continue through some of the text that we've read. You can keep using Fear if you want, or you can jump over to Hoyas Voladores, or you can jump over to Supersize Me, and to find an example of where our writer makes a compound sentence. Find the example and put it in this box, and then create your example. Then go scroll down a bit more, and you will do the same thing with complex sentence. Find an example in any of the passages that we read where our writer creates a complex sentence, and then you create your own complex sentence. Remember that we are going to skip the compound complex sentences for today. We haven't done those yet, and for that reason, you may not know what these look like. You may not know how to identify compound and complex sentences. But that's your assignment for today. Good luck, everybody.